October 27, 1962, the world was one decision away from total annihilation. Nuclear missiles were armed, submarines were cornered, and one man, a Soviet officer you've probably never heard of, stopped it all. His name was Vasili Arkhipov, and his calm under pressure saved over 7 billion lives that would one day exist. The early 1960s, the Cold War was at its peak. The United States had stationed nuclear missiles in Turkey, within striking distance of Moscow. In response, the Soviet Union secretly placed its own missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the U.S. coastline. When American spy planes discovered the missiles, President John F. Kennedy demanded their removal. For 13 days, the world stood on the brink of nuclear war, a standoff known as the Cuban Missile Crisis. Deep below the Atlantic Ocean, the Soviet submarine B-59 was on patrol. It carried a nuclear torpedo, powerful enough to destroy a U.S. aircraft carrier fleet. The crew had no contact with Moscow for days. Temperatures inside reached over 45 degrees C. Oxygen was running low. Above them, U.S. Navy ships had detected the sub. They began dropping small, non-lethal depth charges, signaling it to surface, but to the Soviets inside, it felt like they were under attack. The captain of the submarine, Valentin Savitsky, was convinced that World War III, World War III had begun.
He shouted, "We're going to blast them now. We'll die, but we'll sink them all. We will not disgrace our navy."
But there was one catch. Launching a nuclear weapon required the agreement of all 3 senior officers on board. 2 officers agreed to launch. The third, Vasili Arkhipov, said no. Arkhipov, a calm and respected officer, had already survived a previous nuclear accident a year earlier. He knew how easily panic and miscommunication could lead to disaster.
He argued, "We don't know if war has started. Let's surface and await orders." For hours, he stood his ground, against his furious captain and an exhausted crew.
Finally, Savitsky relented. The submarine surfaced, surrounded by American ships, and returned home. The world never knew how close it had come to total destruction. Shortly after, Kennedy and Khrushchev reached an agreement. The Soviets withdrew their missiles from Cuba. The U.S. quietly removed its missiles from Turkey. The Cuban Missile Crisis ended, and nuclear war was averted. But Vasili Arkhipov's heroism was kept secret for decades. He received no medals, no fame, just quiet duty. He died in 1998, never knowing that historians would later call him the man who saved the world. Sometimes history isn't changed by kings, presidents, or generals, but by calm, ordinary people in moments of unimaginable pressure. Vasili Arkhipov didn't pull the trigger, and because of that, you're here today to hear his story. So next time you think one person can't make a difference, remember the man who quietly saved the world. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it, because history is full of heroes you've never heard of, but should never forget.